Hey there, Hill folk, and welcome back to another episode of Appalachian Intelligence. We're so thankful that you guys can join us again for another week, for another installment. It's just the boys here with you today, just the
How you
AI.
freaking like it?
Yeah, just the AI guys. We were talking a little bit pre-recording, and I hadn't realized that we've had guests on the last 5 weeks, the last 5 episodes. And I mean, that's awesome. That's huge, because anytime we get to talk to people from different areas and different perspectives, it's really awesome. It's all been totally different conversations over different things, and it's a lot of fun, man. It really is. Um, Again, we want to appreciate you, Hill folk out there that continue to keep tuning in and checking out what us idiots have to say. It still amazes me every single day that anybody would tune in and listen to what we have to say about anything. So for that, I'm glad you're getting a little amusement from it somewhere, some way, shape, or form. But we do appreciate that. And with our appreciation, like we like to do, it's a little easier when it's just the boys on here. We like to read our 5-star reviews. So this one comes in from, I can't even say the name on there, but it says number one fan, Jay. Appalachian Intelligence is by far one of my favorite podcasts. Hashtag Team Ryan and Justin. Love you both. Sorry, Lance. We know who this one is. Okay.
Totally okay.
I'm not going to throw her name out there because I don't think that she would like that very much at all. That's why it's so cryptic here. But I will say
I'm also Team Justin and Ryan, just for the record.
I'm really just Team Justin.
That's
I'm Team Ryan and Lance now.
Such a narcissist.
Oh, only yeah, never mind. But I will say that beside of this number one fan, Jay, it has a picture or it has an emoji of a diamond, which is a jewel. So we know who it was. We know who you are. And thank you very much.
So you wrote this. This is your Nick online burner account, Jay from George. Just you.
That's it. Yep, it's me.
Okay.
It's all me. It's all me. It's all right. If we can't love ourselves, who can love us?
So
yeah, exactly.
All right.
To that mystery person, we love you and we miss you.
For sure. And we appreciate you still tuning in and loving the show. And guys, continue to follow us on everything that you can follow us on. Be sure to go on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, wherever you can leave a 5-star rating and review. And please do that. It helps out tremendously with people that are looking us up people that are looking up the topics that we're talking about. And we just happen to pop up. The more you guys jump on and leave the ratings and reviews and sharing the show and putting it on social media, it's busting those algorithms, baby. And that's what we like, is to bust the algorithms. And also, we love being able to share this stuff on the show and send y'all love or show you guys love when you send it our way. But to do that even a little more, we had a few stickers made. So
shout out to our boy and listener, one Jello Ryan Bowling, aka Captain Bench, aka Irish Jesus, aka Man Across the Hall.
Gosh, yeah.
Well, if you see this gentleman, you'll understand everything that just came out of my mouth. Still working on getting him on the show.
Yes.
Also, just bravo, Lance. You weren't even reading that. That's awesome.
That was good. That was really good. Maybe Lance needs to take over the intros on here. But what we're going to do is the first 15 Hill folk listeners out there that goes to Apple Podcast, iTunes, and leaves a 5-star rating and review, we are going to leave a 5-star rating and review, and then DM us, email the show at appalachianintelligence@gmail.com, message us on any of our socials, any of that. Leave us your mailing address, and we will send you one of these sweet Appalachian Intelligence stickers. So if you want to see what they look like, you got to check it out on YouTube, or just know it's our logo. Nothing crazy about it. But for first 15 that jumps on.
They are really cool.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're super cool. Super cool. The dude, Irish Jesus, done a great job. Great job on them.
Oh, man.
But yeah, first 15 jumps on, leaves a 5-star rating review to show our love and our appreciation for you guys doing that. Shoot us your mailing address, however you want to do it, and we'll send you a sweet sticker. Can't beat that. Show a little love from a little love.
I got one more shout out, Justin, just because I told another listener that I would. Miss Denise Stanley. Shout out to her. She's been pushing the pod to some of her college classes that she teaches, had some of the kids listening to it. I bet I've had 30 or 40 high school students come by in the last 2 weeks. Like, hey, listen to the podcast. Miss Stanley had us listen to it in class doing a writing assignment. It's awesome. Love you guys. Doing really cool stuff you're talking about. Keep up the good work. So we appreciate Miss Stanley, Denise, coming through clutch and sharing the show and being a huge fan.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Miss Stanley.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is really awesome. Hey, we're molding the minds of the youth. That's terrifying.
That's exactly what I was racing to say. I had to mute myself because I was coughing, but I want to say that is terrifying.
I do it every day, boys. You guys are molding the wood into the frame for a guitar. I'm taking a young teenage mind and just getting it into the shape that needs to be and be ready for society.
Yeah, that's super scary. That's super scary. Anyway, we'll jump into the episode today. We'll jump into the topic. Keep or quit just mumbling around here and just we're having a good time, man. It's been a long time since it's just been the boys sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is no topics, this is discussions. But we know we got stuff we want to talk about. So who wants to get started here?
Justin's got the notes. Look at him. Look at him.
Well,
look at him over there.
He's got
he's
got a lot of shit written down.
Here's the thing, okay? For weeks now, well, I guess let's see. Probably 2 months now. We've really been wanting to jump into, we've talked a lot about CERN. We've done a couple episodes, revolving around CERN. As everybody knows, the Large Hadron Collider fired back up July the 5th of this year. Record-breaking energy levels, intensity levels. They're slamming particles faster than they ever have before, faster than it's ever been done. Now, a little preface here. What we're going to look at today are some of the major world events that have happened since the LHC fired back up. Okay. Now, some of these things, or maybe all of these things, could have happened, organically, regularly, anyway, maybe, possibly. But for me, a lot of these things are really, really super weird, especially the timing of all of this. Now, like I said, we've talked about CERN on here before. You Hill folk out there, if you want to check out what we have to say about CERN and some of our thoughts on CERN, go check out our episode Cause for Concern ? Go check that one out. That'll give you a little preface of some of our opinions about CERN and what they're doing, either intentionally or just kind of around the way that's being pushed in certain areas, or if they're doing anything at all other than science, other than just trying to find particles.
Also, it could be the longest running practical joke of all time.
Could possibly be. But another thing that I found out since then is there are bukus of particle accelerators around the world. Bukus.
One fairly close to us too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was
Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
23, by the way.
Yeah, I wonder if Tony knows. He lives in the place that it was only founded because of the Manhattan Project.
Yeah, he knows.
Oh, he definitely knows. No, he
that. Read it a couple times.
No, I promise he definitely knows. If you follow the confessionals, he definitely knows. He's on an Oak Ridge kick right now, like nobody's business. He will get to the bottom of Oak Ridge.
My wife's been down there too. Like they'll do like school trips, like kind of to the historical portion, I guess, because of the Manhattan Project. Obviously, they're not showing the kids, what's going on down there, but kind of the museum and some of the historical stuff that's around. My wife was on a couple of years ago, I think before we had kids, was on a school trip down there, and she was like, when you're down there, she says, you just tell like something's up. Like it's just the whole vibe of the place. And her, a total skeptic of everything. She's like, we got there, like it was just, you could just tell the vibe was really different there than it was everywhere else. It's just it's almost like you're kind of like driving down the interstate to the place. Like things just kind of start to feel like, am I entering the Twilight Zone?
Plus, why does everybody in Oak Ridge, Tennessee have a German accent? This is nuts.
It's crazy, yeah. It's really weird.
Come this way. We go now.
Off the bus, please. Off the bus. Yoo-hoo, this way.
And for anybody in Germany, if you're listening, we're so sorry. That's terrible.
Actually, we're not.
But,
I'm not sorry. My last name's...
Hey, those guys... we can't hold it against them guys. That's...
I'm not sorry. My last name's Kaiser. I can say what I want to say about Germany at any point. Okay.
I've got Rothair, and my mother's maiden name was Rothair. It's like straight like from the boat in Germany. We can say what we want to about the Germans.
Which is probably the root word, the root name for Rothschild. You're a Rothschild, ain't you?
I wish. We wouldn't be doing this on Zoom if I was a Rothschild. I can guarantee you that.
I knew this all along. You've been a mole from the get-go. Put in my life to... I'm glad we're finding this out now. That way I can keep my eye on you.
They have kept the central bank money away from me and mine. I don't know what kind of ritual I've got to do, but by all means, if you're out there listening,
maybe it's best for Lance's safety. We don't expose this.
I think most of these elite families, they withhold all the really, really good stuff from all the black sheep. So it sounds about right. That's a given. But anyway, all right, we're going to jump into this Large Hadron Collider. And since it's fired back up, some of the major world events. Now, if you follow the news at all, some of these are major news articles. Some of these are mainstream articles and headlines. And I haven't pulled the articles for all of these because it's just a giant list of some things that have happened. And like I said, again, maybe this would have happened anyway. I don't know about you boys, but I feel like the last... I can't even say. I feel like since 2016, when Donald Trump was named president of the United States, we were on a different timeline of some sort. Like the world just got weird.
See, I disagree with that. And let me tell you why. Like, I think the reason, and I'm not going to get super political because that's not what this is about, but I think American society was primed for an individual like Donald Trump, a politician outside of traditional politics, to kind of come in and take over. I think Mark Cuban could have done the same thing. I think Elon Musk could have done the same thing. I think there was probably 15 or 15 individuals that probably could have done the same thing that Trump did, because we as a society were kind of primed and ready for somebody else other than the ruling elite of America for the last 50 years just these families that just keep pumping in politicians that keep being in charge of things. I think that it could have been Trump, or it could have been a list of people that would have also won that election simply because everybody was just tired of everything else. Just this other stuff doesn't feel like it has worked very well. Like, let's give somebody else a shot and see what happens. Now, I think some of the things that have taken place since then may be different timeline stuff. But because people kind of mention that a lot, right? It's just, I can't believe Donald Trump became the president. Not, well, I can, because it's still, this country's still pretty awesome. Like, and somebody like that can still do something like that because of that. I think there's a variety. Now, he obviously polarizing individual, was on both sides of the aisle. You know, all the political things kind of go with it. But I think there's a list of people that could have insert into that moment and probably would have done the same thing. Because we were just kind of ready. I think, I felt like we were just kind of ready for something else. Just non-politician, non-traditional politician, just White House, Washington, just what I would call Washington trash. Just they keep feeding us over and over and over again that people are like, let's just do something else and let's see what happens.
It's like the Clone Wars.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Where did these 18 senators come from? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like that we like jumped a timeline in a negative way, and I'm not a major Trumper or anything, but I feel like it was just a shift. Like, it was a weird, it was, years and years and years and years and years of the same old thing, the same old politician coming into the same place. And that was just like wait, what? That's not supposed to happen. I agree with you 100%. I think that it was prime for it to happen then, and Donald Trump knew that as well, because that's why he jumped in when he did. But I think just from that time, from that point to now, the world's just gotten crazy, man. It's gotten crazy. I mean, America has gotten crazy, but the world in general, there's been some nutso things going on worldwide. Now, in this show,
who would have ever thought a sickness would shut down the entire world for 2 years?
I didn't.
If I told you that in 2019, September of 2019, hey, we're going to go through this thing called COVID, it's going to shut everything down for 2 years. This is essentially what happened. Like, yeah, some stuff. No, it was 2 years. We're just now kind of getting back. Like, you tell somebody in America that, like, you can't leave your house, you can't, go to work. It's people look at you like you're crazy. There's no way that's possibly going to happen. Well, no, it did, and it definitely happened, and it probably happen again at this point now too.
Oh, I think it was a trial run. I think it was for sure a trial run of other things to come. I think this whole climate change thing, you're going to see lockdowns and power grid shutdowns and all of this different thing, or all these different things to go along with that. I think everything that we've seen over the last couple of years with COVID, with all the lockdowns, with the pushing of the jab, with the divisiveness of being pushed from the media between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, between the maskers and the non-maskers, between like everything. It was so divisive, dude. Like, to the point that the people were policing themselves. I mean, that you couldn't walk into a place not wearing a mask, even if it wasn't like a requirement or whatever. You couldn't walk into a place for fear of being judged or being looked down on, or be, God forbid, something violent or some kind of harassment coming up from it. I mean, it was like, let's start a baby purge. I mean, dude, people just going at each other over garbage that the media and all these people, all this authority, trust the science, trust the science, trust the science. Well, I don't know, but everything that I learned in biology class and anatomy and all this different stuff, there was a whole lot of new science or old science that was going totally against, and people were just totally cool with it. Like, nobody was, I don't know. I could rant on that for a really, really long time. So, Might be best if we just step away from that whole issue.
Yeah, good Lord.
But no, I do think that it was just a.
Since we're on this soapbox, let's go ahead and stand on it for a second.
Okay.
Like we kept hearing this, trust the science, follow the science, all this stuff, and like I don't get like I consider myself a bit more scientific than just the common person because I deal with it on a daily basis. Like even the stuff they were saying was like I looked at my wife and I was like, what? What are they talking about? What is happening? Like what? This doesn't even make scientific sense. You just go through the old school scientific method that we've been teaching kids since the third grade, and they're not even following any of the basic stuff. And then now, 2 years later, we see that everything they've told us, right? And I'm not like a COVID conspiracy person. Like, I don't, you got the shot, that's fine. If you didn't, that's fine. If you wear your mask, that's fine. If you didn't, that's fine. I'm about personal freedom. Like, let me choose. That's all I wanted. This is the biggest thing. Just let me decide. If you're worried about it, that's fine. If I'm not worried about it, that's fine. But we should be able to coexist. But now all the stuff that's coming out, it's like, yeah, hey, guess what? All our people that we thought were crazy, and we're calling them conspiracy theorists and COVID deniers, and they weren't that crazy. Like, they were telling us stuff that we should have been thinking of anyways. And now all this stuff's coming out. Like, they were just making it up as they went. And we were okay with it. Just totally okay with it as a society. You know, some people weren't, but like we were just totally okay with it because it just seemed like, oh, somebody knows more about this than I do, so we'll just do what. That's a little bit scary, a little bit dangerous. That it was so quickly. We as a society so quickly was just like, okay, yeah, somebody else can make decisions for me better than I can make them for myself.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like it was so easy. It was so easy to take the American population, especially in these inner cities and stuff. Like, I'm not going to lie about it. Nothing with this lockdown, any of these COVID law, none of it was law. Any of these COVID requirements or anything that the government or people in authority passed down as far as lockdowns or restrictions or any of this stuff. Nothing changed in my life, in my day to day. Now, my children, I can't say that. They went through it. Our kids went through it. And that's what pisses me off about the whole thing. Because I feel like this was, I'm not going to say that it was intentionally done. I think that it was a lab leak. But I also know that there was an event that happened just a couple months beforehand where the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and a couple of Johns Hopkins University sat down and done a tabletop drill of how coronavirus breaks out in Brazil from pigs and starts spreading worldwide, and how we have to lock down and how we have to do this and what do we do to protect the people and the economy and blah, 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 blah. That's a huge coincidence that just a couple months later, it almost happens like that, except it's China and a bat from a wet market, which is ridiculous. So I'm not going to say that it was intentionally done. I won't go there because I don't have the proof for that. What I do believe is it was fabricated. All of these stats were fabricated and exaggerated and blew up off the charts. What I do believe is they used that for an opportunity, for a chance to push whatever they wanted to push. And all of these different stimulus package acts, you know, all of these laws and then these acts and all of these different things that they put out. Dude, you got 800-page documents, 800-page bills that are being released in a couple days' time with no way anybody can read these things. There's no way you could get through all this stuff. How much crap got packed into there? So you have all of that. You have all the divisiveness being pushed from the media, from the people in authority. You have all of that. But most importantly to me is what it did to our children. Dude, I watched my kids go through it. Kids need social interaction. They need to be able to leave a home and to go hang out with their friends and to talk with their friends and to be in school and to learn in a setting that's not what we're doing right here over a screen. Like, yeah, it didn't affect me personally. If I wanted to go to the store, I went to the store. The only time that I did anything was if I had COVID, I quarantined. But it's the same thing I would do if I had the flu and I was running a fever. You know, all this asymptomatic spread BS, all this, like, none of this makes sense. None of it follows along with anything that has to do with virology at all. And what pisses me off now is these people, these people in authority, the Deborah Birxes of the world, the Anthony Fauci's of the world, months ago, they could call these people that were saying these things COVID deniers and conspiracy theorists and completely canceling them on social media and blocking them off this and that and ruining, like shutting down small businesses. You know how many small businesses were shut down that are never ever, like, people spent entire life savings to open these businesses. And guess what? They're done. What do you think they're going to get from that? Nothing. They're getting nothing. They don't give a crap about them. They don't give a crap about you. They took the opportunity to push whatever crap they wanted to push in that time frame. Our children suffered. Our economy suffered. The world economy suffered. And now you have stuff like sudden adult death syndrome. All these people now can step up and say the same thing that conspiracy theorists were saying months ago and get canceled for, but now it's mainstream. Now it's okay. Now it's fine. We just, you guys need to forget, and we'll just step down. Man, screw that.
Hey, Ryan, how do you feel about COVID?
I'm not a fan of COVID at all. I've had it twice.
I've never, one of the few, me and my wife both, never have we ever had COVID.
Sweet.
Simply because we didn't test for COVID. But like, we never had COVID. I may or may not have had some COVID symptoms, but I have never officially had COVID.
I've had it twice, although the second time was kind of sus. You know what I mean? They were talking about Omicron, and the girl tested me, and it was negative. But she said I had all the symptoms of Omicron, and Omicron shows up negative sometimes on the test. And I'm like, wait, how could you possibly know that? Dude, give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's all just, I don't know, man. Now, I do want to say that I'm with you, Lance. Whatever people decided during all of this time, totally up to them.
Like, that was my biggest thing, right? That was the only thing I was ever like just entirely pissed off about. Just let me decide. That's all I'm asking for. Give me all of the information. Tell me that asymptomatic spread is a real thing. Explain to me how it happened, right? Tell me why the jab is effective. Tell me why we need to quarantine for 10 days or 5 days or 7 days or 9 days or 3 days or 4 days or mask days or no mask days. Like, just tell me all that stuff. Give me the information. Even if it's not right, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with you trying to figure things out as you go. We were all trying to figure it out as we went. Nobody had dealt with anything like this before for 100 years, right? And all the people that dealt with it 100 years before are dead, and they didn't write much about it, right? So that's perfectly fine. Get up on TV, give me your facts, tell me what you think is important, tell me the vitamins we need to be taking, tell me what we need to be staying away from, but then let me decide if I want to wear a mask, if I want to get a shot, if I want to do this for my kids, how my family wants to handle it. Like, this is still America. Like, we still have freedoms. The Constitution is built that way. Like, we still have some freedoms. That was the thing that, and I can go on for hours on the COVID restrictions that we went through in the public school setting, the stuff that we were doing. Good heavens. You want to talk about pure asinine stupidity. Like, they can come cancel me and fire me. All the stuff we were doing in classrooms and schools and on buses and sport. It was absolute stupidity. the stuff they were trying to get us to do and that we were having to do. And it was being and after 6 months, like we finally go back to school for 6 months, like we're doing all this stuff. Hey, guess what? People are still catching COVID. Like kids are still getting sick. Like teachers are still getting sick, just like they were and have been for 100 years of the public education system. You know what happens in August and September? A bunch of kids get sick because they've been apart for all summer. And now you put them in classrooms and they're swapping spit and they're making out with each other in the bathroom and whatever it is they're doing. And kids get sick. And you go through this spell for like 3 weeks. We got kids with the stomach virus, flu kind of kicks up, and strep throat happens. And then after like 3 weeks, nobody's sick anymore. And then once it turns cold, you go through the whole thing again. And it's like this every year, right? It's like this every year. It was no different with COVID, but here we are, we're wiping down tables. We're sanitizing everything in the world. I'm spraying kids as they come in. I'm shooting with 47 thermometers in the head. And I'm expecting at any time I'm going to have to start using a rectal thermometer because we're just getting so crazy and all the stuff that we're doing because nothing's ever accurate enough. And then nothing changed. Like everybody was still getting, and hey guys, that's fine. If you want to put all these restrictions in or these requirements of what we might have to do, just let us decide. That was the thing that was always so irritating to me. I had at the time, see, Moxie, my youngest, was born in November of 2019. So we had her at home. Haley goes on maternity leave. Like we shut down in February. So we had Christmas, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Of course, you're off for school for breaks. The new semester flips over, so you're kind of off for school. And we were back for just a little while. And then we shut down. And Pip was 2 at the time. So we had, like, I remember walking, like, one of the saddest moments for me is, like, Pip was just really starting to talk. And we were a little kind of in through COVID a little bit. Like, we're walking into Walmart to get some stuff. And we've got there, and I'm not, your boy wasn't wearing a mask because he never did, because I was that guy. Like, please tell me to put my mask on. Please tell me to put I was that guy.
I will swing my kid at you.
Yeah. Well, Pippa like was walking in. She was like, Daddy, why is everybody's faces covered? I can't see anybody smiling. And like, it absolutely broke my heart. And Moxie knew nothing but that. Like, she just now, like, understood that was the only world that she knew, was people being masked up and all this stuff going on all the time. And I just wanted to be able to make my own decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
That was the biggest thing. And I wanted all the facts. I wanted to know everything because, hey, we all had elderly people that for a long time, like, this could really be detrimental to them. And we all had probably somebody who's got comorbidities and probably could afford to lose a few pounds. Like, we all had those people in our lives that this is going to affect in some form or fashion. And I need to know those things. But even then, like, let me decide what I want to do and what my family is going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing was, and that's where I'm talking about the divisiveness. Like, in all of these different things, it was, well, you need to do this to take care of this other person. Like, it was, you need to do this so you don't kill grandma. I mean, that's a tough thing to try to put on somebody, try to put on the population, and expect them to just go about everything all loving and like everything is totally cool. And I'm with you. I feel exactly the way you feel about it, Lance. Just let me decide. Like, I know, and I've known my entire life, if I have the flu and I'm running a fever, I'm not going to get around my grandma. I'm not. She don't need to get sick. I'm not going to get around your newborn baby. I'm not going to go to work and spread it all over the place. If I'm running a fever, if I have a stomach bug, guess what? I'm keeping my hind end at home, really close to a toilet, because you don't need to spread it. That's the thing, man. Like, all of this stuff that they were trying to push and just make extra, just crazy. People have been sick. Newsflash, viruses have been around since mankind has been around. Maybe before, I don't know. But I mean, it's just like, people know what to do when they get sick.
And here was another thing too that I don't know how we got here. Don't welcome to Appalachian Intelligence. I don't know how we got here, but for the entirety of our, like, let's say it's our three families are the last three families in the world. Okay, just go on this little journey for me for a second. Okay,
Sounds like a blast.
it's just our three families, our wife and our kids. There's the last three families left. There is enough food for one of our families to be able to survive X amount of days. Okay. What are we three going to do? Even as good of friends as we are, what is going to eventually happen?
I'm knocking both y'all off and feeding my family.
Right? We're going to fight it out to make sure that our family is to make sure that our family has been provided for, right? That's what we're probably not going to be happy about it, but we're going to, guys, this is what's going to have to happen, right? We're just going to, we got to a point in society where it became your and my job to take care of everybody else, right?
Yep.
That's a problem because that is a very socialistic ideology that was being pushed. That it's our job to make sure that everybody, even at our own sacrifice, I was supposed to sacrifice some of my rights, some of my good, some of what I thought was so that everybody else could be okay.
Yeah, man.
The underlying push from the powers to be was a very socialistic idea of everybody gets just a little bit and we take care of everybody else because that's what we should be doing as a society, because that is what is supposed to be doing. That is never how life has ever been. Right? Now,
yeah,
we take care of each other. Absolutely. We do. We make sure that, if one of you boys' families is in need, I'm doing anything I can to help. But when it comes down to me or you, it's always going to be me. And you're always going to decide that it's going to be you. That's just the way, that's human nature. That's just the way that we are. And for some reason, we were tasked with this job to make sure everybody else was taken care of. And I'm sorry, I love you boys, but that's not how this works.
Well, it's broader than that. It's even broader than that because it was the only thing that was ever pushed throughout this entire thing after the vaccine come out, after the jab came out, was get the jab, 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 get the jab. We have no idea about it. It's an experimental drug. I don't care what anybody says about it. It was an experimental drug. You can't just come up with something in 6 months' time and say that long-term trial runs have been done and completed. No, they haven't. That's a lie.
Hey, man, did we already talk about the stuff after the Hadron Collider?
No, we didn't. We never got there. We never got there. We never got there.
Shit, I missed the whole conversation.
No, we never got there. You're still good. We haven't made it there.
I was over here fixing this pipe and without even looking to see if I was muted. That's what that sound was, folks.
You're good. You're good. We get it. But no, the thing is, man, like, again, going back to like the conversation we had with Maverick last week, if you're going to the doctor and the doctor is not asking you about your diet, about your exercise, about your water intake, about all of these different things, you're not seeing a doctor. You're seeing a drug dealer. This is how I felt the same way with these people pushing the jab. And I'll tell you, how often did you hear any of these people in the CDC or the WHO or anything saying, hey, make sure you're eating right, make sure you're getting plenty of exercise. Even if you are at home, get outside and get some sunlight, get some vitamin D. Vitamin D is really good for you. Hey, make sure that you're intaking a whole bunch of zinc. Make sure these vitamins, make sure you're not deficient in any vitamin at all. Take these things. Make sure your body is really good. No, you didn't hear any of that. You heard none of that. So not only were we supposed to take care of everybody else, but we were supposed to take care of everybody else that was sitting at home just shoveling their face full of whatever they wanted to shovel it full of, not getting outside, not doing anything at all, nothing. I mean, we know now, we knew then, just people didn't want to listen to it. Not like I don't know the exact stats, but it was like 90% of the COVID fatalities were people that had 4 comorbidities or more. All right. People that have 4 comorbidities or more don't have really good chances if they get anything. There's no magic pill. There's no magic shot. There's no potion. There's no snake oil that you're just going to get and fix everything. It's not going to happen. So when we convinced, and again, this is not, I'm no anti-vaxxer. I'm no anti any of this stuff.
MAGA guys.
I'm not, definitely not a MAGA guy.
MAGA supporter, COVID denier, hates the shop, hates liberals. Look at him.
I'm just saying. I know that for years and years and years, in my 33 years of life, I know what has always been said that you need to do to take care of yourself, to take care of your body. That way you build your immune system and you either fight off these sicknesses or you're able to handle these sicknesses whenever you do get them. I had COVID twice. If I hadn't tested, I would have never known that I had COVID except for like a stuffy nose. Nothing. But I try to take decent care of my body. Decent. Not even good. So that with me, we never heard anything other than this is what we want you to do. So this is what you need to do. Nothing else works. And another part that bothers me, going to the whole canceling thing again, where you had doctors like Peter McCulloch and Robert Malone. Okay. Peter McCulloch is the most dictated, documented scientist, doctor in his field, in the field of cardiology. But he was canceled because he had differing opinions on these things. Robert Malone helped with the creation of the mRNA technology that the vaccine was using, helped with the creation. He's coming out against it, saying these different things. Let's cancel him. He has no idea what it is. That's what, trust the science, trust your doctors, trust the science, but not that science and not those doctors. None of that stuff. What is science? Is science just stuck in stone? Is that what science is? Or is it ever changing, ever evolving? The last I heard, science is always changing. You're always moving the goalposts because you're always learning more and more and more and more. This is the only time in history that we have to trust the science, and it's all right here. Boom, done. Don't question it. Obey. Just
science show. Big science show today.
Science show.
This has been a big science show today. We've been talking about science a lot.
Science. She blinded me with science. Okay, I'm sorry.
We're going to talk about CERN, but somehow we got the COVID. I feel like this was Ryan's fault.
No.
I don't think Ryan's done anything.
You step back up on the soapbox. So you take that.
I did try to drop it. Ryan, I tried to drop it. Did I not try to drop it?
We hadn't had a conversation about it yet.
Yeah, Lance got on the soapbox. And I knew at that point that I might as well just pack my bowl and mute myself. But I forgot to mute myself. That's what that tapping was, Lance. So.
We hadn't talked about it yet, though. There's more things that I would like to say. I won't. But
there's a lot that I would like to say and have said on the matter. I rant about this all the time. Ryan's heard this rant.
I do too.
100 times.
Yeah. So are the people in my life that I see on a daily basis. You should have heard me in the middle of COVID restrictions at school. I was the no mask guy. I was begging somebody to tell me to put my mask on just so I could have the argument on why they can't tell me that.
I just picture Lance, arms out like a bully, chest puffed up. Like just walking around,
Like, I would wear it
looking
like
at everybody.
I'll just have it hanging right here, just waiting on somebody to say something.
Tell me, say it, do it. I dare you.
First round of you have to wear a mask. They didn't give us where we had to wear the mask at. It said you just have to wear a mask. So I walked around with one in my back pocket, stuck it all the time. And then somebody said something to me, I was like, my butt has a mask on. So then I went back in and rewrote the policy in the school board because I was walking around just putting masks in random places about how it had to be covering your mouth and I had to do the whole thing. I was that guy.
That's awesome, Lance. You're my hero. You're my hero. Do you know how many people we've pissed off in the last 2 episodes?
Yeah, I know.
Just
Gosh dang. We were just starting to do it. We were just starting to get a pretty good following.
We aren't denying that COVID is real. It's 100% real.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that went with it that they tried to take away
Well,
where we have a problem. And I don't think you're a red-blooded American if you don't have a problem with it, at least some of it.
Of course, nobody wants to be told what to do.
My wife tells me what to do all the time, right?
What?
I don't listen, but she tells me.
No.
My wife tells me what to do all the time.
That's same here. But
I don't listen.
What? We just hit our 19-year mark the other day.
Shoo, good for you. Hey.
And she's been telling me what to do for all 19 of those. You know. It's okay.
It's good for you. It's good for us.
She keeps me straight.
So CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, and all these world events that have taken place. So we wanted to just
So
can we just skim through them?
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm going to read just the notes that I've taken and some of the things that have popped out to me. Now, here's the thing. When the LHC first fired back up, I already knew junk was going to get crazy. Like, that's how much I believe this. Okay. So for the first probably couple weeks, every weird thing that I would see, I'd jot it down.
This is true. I remember you texting me and telling me these things.
Yes. And like most things, I'm not very good at sticking with. It's amazing that this podcast has lasted as long as it has.
The master starting 100 things and finishing none of them.
Oh yeah, that's me. That's what I do. Like, I have a really hard time with. I've got commitment issues. Okay, commitment issues. It's hard for me to commit.
Just give in to us.
That's why Monica's. She's a queen, son. She's a queen. She made me commit somehow. Okay, so I'll buzz through. I'll buzz through some of these things. I couldn't even stick with Lance. I had to take a break from him for a few years.
Think of how managed. Some things took place there that probably why I had to commit. Well, that's another story for another day.
No, Lance, I would commit it anyway.
That's right.
We'll never know. We'll never know. So.
Don't you say that. You shut your mouth. Okay, so I'm gonna buzz through these. We can talk about, a couple of the weirder ones or whatever. But I just wanted to show this thing's fired up and some stuff has gotten weird. We got Grandpa Johansson up there with his corncob pipe, his button nose.
This is Grandpa Tommy Chong. Okay.
Okay, so our age there.
July the 5th.
I call him Jedekiah up there. I'm sorry, Jedekiah up that pipe. That's what I'm referring to him as.
Jedekiah. July the 5th. The Large Hadron Collider fires back up. Okay. It was getting hyped up like crazy. They were going big, or they were going home, or they were going to open a portal to send us all into a black hole. The very next day, the Georgia Guidestones blow up. Okay. Now, there is 758,000 theories out there already. I say already, but they were there that day of what happened when the Georgia Guidestones blew up. Now, quick hitter. Anybody that doesn't know what the Georgia Guidestones are, go look it up before it's scrubbed off the internet completely, because I think that was part of the thing to try to get rid of the history of that. Hold on. Give me just a moment. You guys talk for a second.
And before that gets scrubbed, go check the surveillance footage out if you can find it. of that blowing up, because there's lots of interesting things there that have been, I guess, not, I wouldn't say altered. Would you say altered, Ryan? Just like there's a lot of different angles and crazy explanations of things that of how this could have or would have or did happen.
Yeah, there's there's a lot of things, like I think one of the things Justin wanted to point out was Britney Spears' skirt, but I think that's kind of been debunked, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that has been, even she came out, I think, and said something about that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to check the Georgia Guidestones out for sure if you haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you guys talked about it, but there was this list of pretty much, there was a list of commandments on there for lack of better terms, for a new world order. Now, you say the words new world order and people automatically think, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. Well, there was about 12 presidents consecutively that talked about a new world order in their speeches. One of the most crazy speeches of all time came from Ronald Reagan, talking about global control will have to be imposed and a world governing body will be created to enforce it. Now, if you really want to hear it done awesomely, go check out Tinfoil Hat, the intro, the way Sam's got that done up. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
But anyway, one of those commandments is like to have the world population at 500 million. Just some of these different things. And the weird thing is, if you look at these commandments, like a lot of them are like, oh, okay, yeah, I could go with that. Oh, yeah, I could go with that too. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Oh, yeah, love each other, take care of each other, community. Yeah, that's great. Oh, world population needs to be 500 million. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So,
huge mass extinction of people.
Yeah, it is. But you just look at the Georgia Guidestones, the way they were created, how you have this mystery guy go in, get the grants and the loans and all this different stuff. It's all weird. It's all super weird. Also, you have like 9 different, or you have, I don't remember, a bunch of different languages that are on the Georgia Guidestones. 4 of them are like dead languages. What's that mean? Who's reading dead languages? It's crazy. It's all weird. But anyway, the very day after the LHC fires up, the Georgia Guidestones blow up. The very next day, the very next morning, or maybe afternoon, they're demolished. Done. You've got an excavator in there, knocking these things over, getting rid of the rubble super quick. We're done. All right, get rid of it. Now, I'm thinking that some kind of formal investigation, if a monument that's been around since the 80s is just, we don't know what happened to it. Was it a lightning strike? Was it intentionally done? Was it some kind of sabotagery? No, that's not a word. Whatever was done, some kind of investigation, you would think. It was never done, never completed. The very same week in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the sky turns green. Okay.
Where's the reflection from the grow houses and the corn, Justin?
No, that's when the sky turned pink. That was from the grow houses.
Wasn't the Idaho something to do with the corn reflection?
Yeah, in Idaho, that was where the sky turned pink.
Oh.
In South Dakota, the sky turned crazy, completely green, and it looked like a weird version of the upside down.
What about Beckley, West Virginia? It turned orange.
Beckley, West Virginia was orange, like the world was orange, not just the sky. Beckley was orange.
Everybody was posting pictures from there, like, this is not a filter. Like, this is what Beckley looks like right now.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Well, what I'm going to do too, I always say this, and I really am going to try to do it this time. I'm sorry, Hill folk. I'm such a slacker. I'm going to try to put the pictures of some of these places and just how weird they looked, the skies and the area, just how crazy they look. So, like weird weather phenomena. Now, could that be explained away? Yeah, for sure. Probably with certain weather events, you're going to get coloration and all this and that. But within the same week, You had green skies, you had pink skies, you had red skies that a pilot seen and said that he'd never seen anything like it before in his entire life. And I'm not talking like red skies at night, sailor's delight. Okay. I'm not talking like sunrise, sunset on the horizon. I'm talking about this spot, this blotch in the sky that is like neon red. Okay. Nuts. Super crazy.
And you could add into that same couple of weeks the storms that hit in areas like, just here in our local area, the flooding that took place that has been unlike anything that's ever been done. They were calling it 1,000-year flood. Like, some of these places just had never had anything happen like that before. We've had floods for years here, because of the erosion, the strip mining, and things like that. Sometimes we get overflows of water and different things, but like it was nothing like had taken place in our area. It kind of a lot very similar, very close to the same time that all this other stuff was happening as well.
That was a great job, Lance, because that was my very next note.
I'm sorry.
Was torrential rainfall and flooding in our area. Literally, we've talked about it on here plenty of times. We talked about, helping these folks out and doing this. Entire towns were wiped off the map, were washed off the map. Entire towns. I mean, crazy. Like Lance said, 1,000-year flooding. Nuts. All going on around the same time. And it wasn't, but it wasn't just us. It wasn't just our area. If you guys remember when we were talking to Steve and Kyle from Hollow Sky, they were talking about how there was torrential flooding going on in Illinois around where they live, that people had gotten stranded on the interstate there in their commute.
Said, like somebody died. Right? I mean,
like 6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think the last count around here, or, Eastern Kentucky, I think was like 40 some people was the last count there. So, I mean, you're talking, a lot of deaths. But around the same time, but maybe a little bit later, August the 28th, you had some flooding in Pakistan. Okay. The nation declared a climate catastrophe and appeals for international assistance as the death toll from recent flooding in the country exceeds 1,000 people.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, 1,000 people. The world's deadliest flood since 2017. You know what that was? You know what's also considered a flood? A tsunami. So, just flooding.
Definitely like not the LHC. It was definitely like global warming causing all this stuff.
Well, yeah, definitely. Definitely global warming, because everybody knows that global warming is, the Earth doesn't go through climate changes.
Are you guys familiar with cloud seeding?
Mm-hmm.
And how they can control actual weather?
Silver iodide crystals.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, they do it, man. They talk about it. It's documented.
Yeah, they're not really controlling.
I'm not saying they're like flooding all these areas. I'm just saying.
But if you're trying to use this in I'm not going to say a warfare kind of way, but if certain people can cloud seed and can control weather in certain areas of the world, they may start the process. But what happens when Mother Nature takes a hold of what they're already doing and empties somewhere else? I mean, just a possibility, just something that I'm thinking of. If I light a fuse for a bottle rocket and that bottle rocket explodes, it's no big deal. But if I light a fuse to that bottle rocket and I shoot it into a barn full of dry hay, guess what? We got a big fire.
It's pretty big.
We got a big fire on our hands. Hey, Ethel, get the water.
You got Smokey the Bear standing like, you idiot.
Hey, I thought we got to put the fire out in the barn. Barn burned down. Horses are burning.
Call Jedediah. He's got his spot. We need him and his buddies over here. carrying the water buckets. We need 3 of them on the wheel, cranking that thing up. Go ahead and tell Mama Jedediah to get the big old bucket, the large pan that we make the soup in. Bring it on out too. We know Jedediah's got that hit up back there in the backside. He done made stew a couple of times with it. She's got that thing back here. Sometimes she uses the pan to hit him in the head because he won't listen. He's too busy smoking that pipe all the time. Jedediah, get you. Come on, we need you, brother.
That was good. That was good. Okay, since we're
I
on
thought
weather,
Ashley was here.
since we're on weather, okay, July the 19th, and you guys will remember that. You guys will remember these things as I'm talking about. There's just, we are flooded with so much information in today's time that everything we learn today we lose tomorrow because there's new crap going on. That's why documentation is so important. And Justin Kaiser needs to do a better job of it. Okay, so July the 19th, at least 12,000 people killed, dead, due to extreme heat waves hitting much of Europe, additionally causing major wildfires, travel disruption, and record high temperatures in many countries. Now, I know you guys remember that.
I do.
Yeah.
So, again, it's got to be global warming, right? It has to be. It's got to be global warming.
Heating up, greenhouse gases.
You know, they
Getting
do
off-
say
being
all
burnt.
these new viruses and bacteria are being released as the ice melts. Like some prehistoric shit.
But here's the thing, dude. You look back through, depending on, and honestly, I don't even really care. People, there's a big debate about how old the Earth is or all this. I don't even care.
7,000 years.
I don't care how old it is.
Maybe 8,000 years.
It's 170 bajillion or it's 7,000. I don't care. I don't care how old it is. I know that I've got about 70 to 85, best case scenario, best case, to do everything that I need to do and to try to leave a mark and to make the world a little better while I'm here. That's all I know. That's all I care about. So how old the Earth is makes no difference to me. I know where I'm going to be when I leave here. But I don't even know where I was going with that.
I don't either.
Not in Europe because of the heat wave.
Yeah, but I don't think I was on the same. Anyway, I don't know. Moving on. So to get off of the weather. Oh, yeah. Changes in weather. Holy crap. ADD is it's a superpower.
I wish we had sound effects.
Yeah.
Lance does have sound effects. You just don't ever use them.
Gosh dang. Oh my heck.
Don't know what they sound like.
You got to play with those, dude. You got to play with those. Talking about changes in weather, changes in climate. People act like we've never had ice ages on the earth. Okay. People act like we've never had these dry periods. People act like that. I'm thinking it was Maverick that said it, that back in the 20s and 30s, that the farmlands didn't just dry completely up and blow completely away. One of my favorite bluegrass songs is Dust Bowl Children. Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah.
There's change. There's cyclical changes in weather throughout, every 100 years or every 1,000 years or every 10,000 years or every million, whatever. There's been ice ages. There's been heating periods. There's been times when the entirety of the earth is covered in water. There's been times when the majority of the earth was tropical rainforest. There's been times that the majority of it was desert. Dude, it changes. There's nothing that we're doing. Cow farts aren't changing that. All right? They're not.
They're getting canceled.
You don't know.
We might as well. We're pissing a lot of people off these last two. We're going to find out who our friends are. Somebody's gonna drop everything, run up and crank up that pod, hit play cause we're awesome.
I thought you were going somewhere else there.
All right, no, these last two episodes we're gonna find out who our loyal listeners are and who's like, if this show I'm bouncing out. All right. but that's like we're the line in the sand. Okay, getting away from weather. Speaking of Europe and the UK,
The Queen died.
I mean, that's recent, but that's end of the list. But yes, the Queen did die.
Well, I mean, that's like,
She was also 96.
And you
And
I know that she did.
And I think she's Justin's crazy. Okay, Justin's crazy corner.
no,
I'm sorry.
Yes,
That was
don't,
my fault.
no,
This was
Justin's
my
crazy corner.
come on.
Justin's crazy corner. You ready?
yes.
I'm not gonna say that she's a lizard.
You just,
I'm not gonna say that she was drinking adrenochrome.
you just,
I'm not gonna say that she was tied to a few missing children in Canada. I'm not gonna say any of those things. All I'm gonna say is I think she's been dead for a while. Because when you do this parade in the middle of England and you have a hologram representing Queen Elizabeth, she's out of commission. Okay. She's out.
I think she didn't die like Tuesday of last week. You think
No.
she's been dead for months?
Maybe.
Since the Jubilee?
Maybe. Probably.
Was we are deep in the crazy corner.
yeah, that's,
you think-
that's pretty deep.
Answer you this question. Do you think Joe Biden is a clone?
Yes. For sure. Dude, that's not the same guy. That is not the same guy. Line up pictures.
Age.
Age don't change your earlobes,
What
You get your
about
face
plastic
done, does.
surgery? Yeah.
bro.
I can't get on board with the Joe Biden's a clone people.
That's the only way that he can even look.
He's just an old white dude.
He's an old white clone. He's an old white
Get
clone.
on board. Because my question is always this. Well, since we're here, let's go. We're here. Let's talk about
Guys are just. Is this your plan? Like, you just want to get my hopes up, get me really liking something. Like, man, I love coming in and interviewing these people, meeting all these people, talking with my boys. And then they're like, you know what? Psst, fuck it. Let's get canceled. Sorry, Miss Stanley.
It's okay.
He said college kids.
This
Oh,
is
college
what I always go
kids.
to when this whole Joe Biden is a clone.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is the question that I always have. When they cloned Dolly the sheep, all right, that's one of the first documented cases of the sheep being cloned. They didn't put the sheep into like the Steve Urkel change machine, and it came out the exact same age like Stefan did back during Family Matters. They took the DNA and implanted it into another sheep, and then when the baby sheep was born, the lamb was born, it was genetically the same as Dolly the sheep. Dolly the sheep itself was actually several years older. So if we're going to clone Joe Biden, we don't just like split him into two. We have to take his DNA and put it into a fetus. Well, yes, make an egg with it, right? And then implant that egg in, I guess, fertilize it and then implant that into a womb. And then it has to be born a baby. And then the baby becomes genetically like Joe. We just don't have two Joe Bidens that are 77. Impossible.
You only have to do those things if it's a biological clone, not if it's a cyborg clone. Hey, you can't tell me this dude ain't some kind of glitched out machine.
Because
He'd walk up.
may not have dementia or Alzheimer's. Doesn't mean he's cyborg clone.
Lance,
It's a cyborg,
you couldn't
bro.
possibly fathom the technology the lizard people bring to the game. So get with the program. All right? We're tired of your
Yeah.
shit. We're
Yeah.
tired of your shit.
Preach. Preach.
I just can't get on. I can get on board with a lot of stuff.
Hey, full disclosure. I was just having fun with that. I don't really think Joe Biden's a clone.
I don't either.
Now,
And
back to the
There are
Queen.
a lot of people who think that.
Yeah, there's a lot of look, guys. I mean, some people get really, really far down the rabbit hole, and I'm not going to talk about any of my people in the counterculture field, okay? Because most of them are trying to do good. Most of them are trying to share the information that is being withheld.
Now, I've always explained it like this too. It's good to know the rabbit hole's there. It's good to know what's in the rabbit hole. It's good to dip your toes into the rabbit hole. We don't need to dive headfirst into the rabbit hole and live there.
Correct.
Here's my opinion. Some smartass like me got on the internet and started these rumors just to watch the conspiracy nuts take it and just run with it.
Listen, I've got a really good theory on Democratic QAnons that we need to get into sometime, not tonight, that I think you all enjoy.
Oh, yeah. That'd be sweet. But anyway, back to the Queen. I think she's been dead for a while. I think they use this date right now to drop the information because everybody knows it's going to be a week or 2 week long process in the mainstream media. That's all that's going to be covered. And there's going to be other things going on within these next couple of weeks that's going to be totally blown over. Nobody's going to be paying any attention to because we're all focused on the Queen and the royal family that people in America shouldn't care about since 1776. End of story. That's the last time we should have cared anything about the British royal family was 1776. That's the end of my sermon on the Queen. Okay.
And to our British listeners, we're so sorry for your loss.
Got questions. Let's go.
Okay. I want to hear the question.
Oh, just go.
No, let's hear the question.
No, fine.
You can't tell me you have a question and not ask a question.
You think they're going to drop? What are you talking about?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Going out, places burning down, don't have enough food.
Well, supply chains are already running down. You've already had like 60 some food processing plants burned down.
11 of the 13 shipping railroad people going on strike.
Yeah, that's all organic too. None of that. Just don't look at any of that. Just look away.
The nurses are striking too.
Everybody's striking. The entire world. Look, boys, I don't know. It's bad. It's bad. The only thing that I could say is, however, like, okay, you remember that show back in like 20 years ago, Doomsday Preppers? And we used to watch these guys and used to laugh and look at these crazies. Look at all this stuff. They're wasting all this money. Well, okay, I'm not telling you that you need to go all out like that. What I am saying is the writing's on the wall for major shortages, food supply issues, well, any supply issues. You have plants burning to the ground. You have people like Bill Gates, who owns the majority of the farmland in the U.S. That's going to be great. I'm sure he's a great farmer. The same guy that's telling us that we need to eat fake meat and bugs. Well, that's coming from his cousin Klaus more than anything. But anyway, dude, all I'm saying, hill folk out there, just, hey, be prepared. Be prepared. Know how to hunt, know how to fish, know how to raise a garden, know how to harvest that garden. Look at canning, buy canned foods, make sure you have a good water source. Just do some things that, you don't have to go all out, but just in case, just be ready, be prepared. I sound like Tony Merkel now. Get prepared with prepare. Sorry. Okay, so we'll stay in the UK for a minute. Back a couple months ago, like not long after this happened with the firing up of the LHC, you had dozens of UK ministers of parliament resign from their positions, like the same time. Now, that could have been just a political thing because there was a weird shift going on. Everybody was like either totally on board with Boris Johnson, totally against him, all this different stuff. But there was a bunch of them that resigned like right off the bat. Like a week later, Boris Johnson resigned. But all these other people had resigned as well. So that was weird. But what made it even weirder was at the same time or around the same time, let me get to it. You had almost the entirety of the Japanese government stepped down. Almost the entire, like almost everybody in the Japanese government steps down, resigns around the same time that the UK did. So I thought that was a little weird. Now, since right before COVID, and I've got my own theories on a lot of this stuff, and it involves COVID as well, but it's still going on. You've had 1,300 CEOs worldwide step down. Now I'm talking CEOs of pretty big corporations that have stepped down. 1,300 CEOs have stepped down within a couple year time frame. That's weird to me. That feels like a shift in a lot of people's, like I'm saying, seeing the writing on the walls and saying it's time to head to that vacation home in the Bahamas and just kick back for a while. So that was weird. Around the same time, Canada loses all their telecommunications and banking access over the course of a couple of days.
So did
now, I'm not talking. Yeah, so did New People's Bank, baby. That's the maddest I've seen Haitians in a long time. Not the country Haiti Haitians. Haitians Haitians. Okay, that's what I call them. So yeah, Canada losing all telecommunications and banking access, the entirety of the country. You had the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was shot and killed, assassinated around that same time. You've had, and I keep saying around that same time. This has all taken place in the last couple months since the LHC is fired back up. We talked about the floods in Pakistan. Everybody knows that around the end of July, the World Health Organization declared monkeypox a public health emergency because like 12 people had it. I'm not even getting into that. We've already stayed on COVID long enough. We can't afford to get into monkeypox too. We can't afford it.
I got some things. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
We've got let's see. Oh, we can't forget about the congressional UAP hearings. We cannot forget about those. Now, the only question that I have, I jotted those down, but did that happen before? I know that there's been a recent one as well, I think since after the LHC fired up. But did that happen before or after the LHC fired back up?
I can't remember. It seems like it may be before.
I couldn't remember either.
Lance, are you on it right now?
Yes.
He's on it right now. So we.
But I figured it was a close enough time frame to at least talk about, because for the first time in at least 50 years, we have members of Congress. It was in May. Okay. It's close, though. Pretty close. But again, we've talked about it on here before. For the first time in at least 50 years, you have people in government stepping out and saying, hey, there's something going on in the skies, and we don't really know what it is. Not only do we not know what it is, but we can confidently say some of these craft haven't been built on this planet.
Well, we can go ahead and just the uptick in information and sightings and declassified information that has been out since just the congressional hearing. I mean, it's like every day I see something new on my Twitter feed. Because I'm following some stuff that shows me that, of course, but like every day there's some new, and a lot of times it's like New York Times or Boston Globe or the AP. Like it's like these legitimate, what we would consider legitimate mainstream sources are talking about this stuff. Like naval officer comes out and says he sees this, whatever. This has been declassified. Like, which has been a huge uptick in that information, which concerns me because what are they trying to get us comfortable for?
Exactly. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. Like, why keep everything classified and act like it doesn't exist for, well, forever? And then just all of a sudden You got Tucker Carlson covering UFOs and doing an entire special on it. You've got, now look, I'm talking about mainstream media.
Yeah.
But I know everybody in mainstream media, they're puppets. Okay. They're going to do what they're told, including Tucker Carlson, including everybody on Fox News. They're all puppets, every one of them.
Just don't watch news on TV.
But you have people like Matt Walsh. You have people like Matt Walsh, who's been for the last 2 years just sitting down in a chair beside or in front of somebody in the LGBTQ plus whatever else community.
LGBTQAIP plus. Get it right.
AI, Appalachian Intelligence. That's right, baby.
Judge for discrimination.
That's what we're going to call our Patreon. AI plus.
Yeah, we don't kink shame here.
Don't care.
Absolutely not. You be you, baby. You be you. You just be the best you can be.
Express yourself. Express yourself.
Yeah. But anyway, for 2 years, Matt Walsh sat in a chair in front of these other people and said, "What is a woman?" Okay. For 2 years, wrote a book about it, had a documentary about it, wrote a children's book, I think, got a super killer beard. That's what he did for 2 years. Was on Dr. Phil, all the stuff. Now he's hunting UFOs. Like what's going on? What's going on?
I was listening to something the other day. I don't know. I can't. Justin, you can probably. This will probably be able to spit this fact out as soon as I say this. There is a project something. Insert some word, code word.
Blue Beam.
Is it Blue Beam? That is the one that says that aliens have come and it's supposed to help unite the world civilizations to fight against this common threat.
Oh, no, not Sir. No,
not Serpo.
It's
not
Project. No, it's Blue Book. That says that Project Blue Book. If I'm not mistaken.
And that one was from back in the day, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Blue Beam is the newest.
I'm thinking
one of them. It's on it's in the whatever. It says that the government will release that there is a invasion of some type to get the populace all on the same page.
Well, dude, Ronald Reagan.
It was Reagan, definitely the one that said it. I don't remember which podcast I was listening to that was alluding to it, but I was like, huh. I've heard that one before.
Reagan was speaking, to the public anyway, in hypothetical terms, saying that one of the only things that would bring together a global population would be something such as an alien invasion.
That's what it was.
But statements like that leaves the counterculture people like me thinking, okay, so you're already saying that. So that means that's already the foundation, the basis of something like a Project Blue Beam. Now, Project Blue Beam has been theorized to be anything from an alien invasion to Christ coming back to, a bunch of these different things. But it's something, again, and we've seen it. Let's go back to the whole COVID thing. What's the quickest way to get a population to do what they're told?
Tell them they're going to get sick.
Or it's just fear.
Yeah, scare them.
Fear. You make people, you scare people, you overwhelm them with information, even if it doesn't make sense. You have them guessing with everything that they do. Look, boys, I stand firm in a whole lot of my beliefs and in my freedoms as a U.S. citizen. And throughout this entire thing, I was ranting and debating and doing a whole lot of different stuff. But there were still times that I was sitting or doing something. I'm like, wait, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. Do I use this information? Do I use that information? Is this true? Is that true? This doesn't make any sense, but they're telling me it is. But I learned that, but that don't count anymore. This people are doing this, people, you get people confused and scared. You can control them.
And people are idiots anyways, just as a general rule of thumb. So
Yeah.
like us, like me included. Like I mean, but it's like so it's
Not you, listeners.
so it's easy to just manipulate and get them to bend the knee when a threat, especially, is looming overhead.
I'm like Jon Snow, baby. I ain't bending the knee. I'm the king of the North. King of the bloody North.
You're the illegitimate bastard of the wall. Now you get back there.
I'm more like what's his name? God, what was his name? Big redheaded dude.
You're like
Corman.
You remind me of Littlefinger.
Oh, really? I'm gonna show you a little finger. I don't know. I am pretty sly. I'd probably be like a little finger for real. Pretty clever. Pretty clever. All right. So that's a lot of stuff everybody knows and is heard of, and it was a big deal for a while. We know when CERN fires up, Mandela effects are going to start happening. We know about the Britney skirt. Okay. We know about the Britney skirt. And still there's people arguing whether it was plaid.
She'd come out and say something about her skirt.
She come out with a picture of her plaid skirt and says still fits after 20 some years. But it was black. Always has been black. Another Mandela effect for you. Now, this last one that I want to talk about, and honestly, I haven't researched it a ton. Okay. I heard this when it was a little quick hitter that Tony done on the confessionals the other day about the Euphrates River drying up. Now, if any of you hill folk out there want to check this out, okay, just quick little rundown. So the Euphrates River, which is, if you're going biblically, it was one of the 4 rivers it stated that was around the Garden of Eden. So it was there from the beginning. It is the river that 4 fallen angels were imprisoned underneath and restrained underneath because they sinned against God and they sinned against God. So they were restrained under the river Euphrates. Now, the Euphrates River is drying up. There's places that people have went to in this river, and they claim, look, I haven't been there. I can't tell you all this. All I can tell you is what I'm hearing and some of these allegations that are experiences people that are saying they're going to these places in the Euphrates River under where it's dried up and finding these caverns and some of these places that look like jail cells. Okay. Well, these people have taken audio from these jail cells, and the audio is pretty crazy. It's pretty intense stuff. If it's true. Now, I wasn't there. I didn't capture this audio. I can't tell you if it's true or not. The only thing that I can tell you is if this is true, it's freaking scary.
You have some of the audio?
Well, I can find it.
See,
you guys talk for a minute. You guys talk for.
Okay, so I've heard the audio. If it's true, it's crazy.
As have I. Yes.
If it is true, it's
not one of those things has been faked.
Yeah.
But it's almost to the point I heard it. I was like, that's almost too crazy to be real.
Yeah.
But something like what we're talking about, it is like it's going to appear and seem, if it's real, it's even going to seem like it's too crazy to be real. Like it's the exact thing you would think if it was, if somebody's trying to fake it, or if they weren't faking it and it was actually real, then you're gonna be like, nah, that's not real. Like, so it's kind of a catch-22. I'm trying to.
All right.
It's
I got the audio right here.
not so.
Now, see, when I listen to it, that part right there just sounds like a boat motor and like the waves hitting the bottom of the boat.
And it very well could be.
And that's what it sounds like to me, is a boat motor. And the things like being pulled, the microphone's being pulled through the water.
Well, it's one of those things that, just like Lance said, when it does have, if you think biblically, if you believe what the Bible says to be true, at some point, and here's what I believe. Oh gosh, this gets slippery. Anytime you get into the book of Revelations, it gets slippery. Okay. I think it's Revelations chapter 16, maybe 16, 13. Is that right, Lance? Close to it.
Yes.
Talks about when the angel blows the sixth, or when the sixth trumpet is blown, and the angel pours a cup onto the river Euphrates and dries it up. And I'm totally paraphrasing here. The river Euphrates dries up. And then earlier in the book of Revelations, it talks about the 4 fallen angels being released from their jail cells, from their prison, and spreading chaos on the earth. Okay. That's earlier in Revelation. Now, it gets into the whole thing, and theologians are always going back and forth. Are the events of Revelations the way they're documented in chronological order? Is it John was just seeing all these visions and trying to put them down to the best of his ability? There's a thousand different things you can look at. Now, me personally, I believe that before you see all of these things, if you're a follower of Christ, if you are a believer in Jesus Christ and have been bought by the blood, I believe those people will be raptured out before those things happen. That's what I believe. Because right after that, you have the starting of the tribulation. You have, the Antichrist making his appearance. You have the abomination of desolation. You have, there's a lot that transpires and takes place. I think before any of that, if you believe in a rapturing moment of the church, I believe that happens before any of this other stuff happens. But here's where it gets a little bit slippery for me. Just because I know God can dry up a river like that if he wants to. But does he have to? Can he dry up a river and then allow things to transpire over the course of however long that he wants to be? That's my thing on it. Like, if you're looking at biblical prophecy, we know based on the book of Revelations and biblical prophecy, the Euphrates River is going to dry up. And we're seeing that. Now, is it going to fill back up and then dry up again at a later date? Is it going to, I don't know. I don't know any of these things. I don't know if people are actually finding jail cells. I don't know if this audio is legit. The only thing that I do know is that is biblical prophecy. And if you believe the Bible to be true, then I think it's something to look into at least. It's weird. It's weird.
Absolutely.
Thoughts?
All right, so
Thoughts?
it's absolutely 100% weird. I like in the same thought as you am a proponent believer of a pre-trib rapture, that those accounts that take place in the book of Revelations happens after the church has been raptured. It's just my thoughts and my beliefs on that account as well. So I don't think the Euphrates River is 100% drying up. I do not think we are seeing the pouring out of the sixth seal right now. I think that it will fill back up, or it will not, just the water level will be, we won't see it dry completely up. Now, I will say this. This is a bit slippery and maybe a bit of a crazy corner idea in theory. But talking about Euphrates River, and we're talking about biblical prophecy, anytime you deal with Euphrates in the fertile region there of Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, all that area where that in the Middle East, there is a division of people, theologians, scholars, Bible studiers, non-Bible studiers, just ancient history studiers in general, who will tell you that some of the unsavory things that were here on the earth before the flood of Noah, that all of mankind was killed except for Noah and his 7 family members, yes. But that there are people who believe that some of the Nephilim, and I won't go into the huge amount of it, but some of the Nephilim, the fallen angels that were around, to the other creatures, I guess, that they could have potentially have made during the 1650 years that they were here, managed to escape the flood via caverns and tunnels all throughout the Nile, Euphrates River area, and that is potentially what we are now discovering as those water levels are coming down. Now, that's just is it true? Who knows, right? It may or may not be, but there is people who think that is how post-flood Nephilim things got back on Earth.
But not us here at Appalachian Intelligence. We think they jumped on a spaceship and orbited the Earth until the water levels decreased.
Hey, sometime I've got some scripture that would back that up.
God, Lance, I love this show.
Not today. Like, we don't want to get into that today because that would be a bit of like a study. I would have to take you through some stuff, but I've got some stuff. Hey, Jedediah, pack you another bowl in there, baby, and let's get into the scriptures a little bit.
You guys are trying to fry my mind, man.
I've got some information and some scripture there that I think would be interesting to talk about sometime.
Hey, you know what we need to do? I want to get Joel back on here and talk about his thoughts on the Book of Enoch.
You don't want?
Just go on Instagram.
Yeah, no kidding.
Joel's.
No, dude, that was Joel.
Out there.
That was Joel that was talking all that
on Tony's show the other day.
Yeah, that was Joel.
He is along some of the same vein lines of thinking that I am,
dude.
That whole thing being there simply just to lead people astray.
Well,
Peter alludes to it. Peter alludes to it a couple of times.
Yeah. Oh, we won't get into all that. We won't get into all that.
That would be like, that would be hours.
Okay. Final thoughts. So I know we've taken a really long route to get here, but hey, baby, that's Appalachian intelligence. That's what we do.
They know what they're signing up for.
That you at this point, you know what you're signing up for. You're going to get our opinions. You're going to get our beliefs. You're going to get a little bit of background in our lives. You're going to get a whole lot of laughing, a whole lot of having fun, a whole lot of jokes. And you know what?
Just a smidge of diabetes. But
if you get mad and you get upset, we don't mean for it to be that, okay? At the end of the day, this is our show. This is a place that we're going to come on here and express our opinions and beliefs from a platform that you can choose to jump on or you can choose to jump off.
Listen, people, I coach high school football. You can't call me or holler anything at me that I haven't already been yelled, been called, or been told in the stands on Friday nights.
Justin, we need to go to one of his games and be like, put my kid in.
I've been called.
Hey,
I've heard all of it. It doesn't nothing.
I just went to one of his games Friday night, son.
You should have went over there and harassed him.
He would just join the crowd.
I was on the opposing bleachers watching the game and watching Lance over there calling the plays and strutting up and down the sidelines and doing the hand signals and those. Gosh, I was thinking, man, what a flipping stud.
That's right.
I was thinking that's exactly what I want to be when I grow up. No, honestly, I was thinking I never, ever, ever in a million years thought that I would see Lance standing on one sideline and Dakota standing on another sideline, Stash calling plays against each other. Like not against each other, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, small world.
It's awesome, man. That's the James Colley coaching tree, I like to call it. Hey, start looking at that. Look around, man.
Oh, I know.
The James Colley coaching tree is far and wide. There's a whole lot of limbs on that baby, more than Nick Saban. All right,
anyway, if you're mad at us because of the last two episodes, hey, we're not sorry.
But we do love you.
We do love you. I don't believe everything that you hear on here.
Yeah, good thing.
And here's what I'll put
all the info. We just like to give you all the information that we have.
Yeah,
what we think is right and wrong. It doesn't mean that we're right and wrong. It's just how we feel.
And here's what I'll put forth out there as well. Okay, if you're listening to one of these episodes and you feel totally the opposite of something that we're saying, and you have information that could educate us and possibly change our viewpoints or our stance on something, reach out to us.
Just like you would like last week, seduce us, baby.
Yeah.
Seduce us with your facts.
Yeah. We'll have the conversations, guys. Look, just because we get on here and rant, or we have guests that we don't necessarily agree with everything that they're talking about.
Hashtag fuck flat earthers.
Now you just lost half of our audience there, Ryan. All this stuff you've been talking about audience, you just lost half of them there.
They don't listen to us.
Dude, do you know how many downloads our flat earth episode has?
I know, all 1,200 believers in flat earth.
Hey.
And that means Tila Tequila probably listened to our episode.
People
that means anything to anybody. I don't even know who the hell that is.
Hey, people are interested, man. People are interested. So, flat earth community, I'm still with you. Okay. I'm with you.
Hashtag
deep down, Ryan is too.
Deep down, Ryan is too. Let's don't even get into it. Ryan gets really upset.
Little heart. It's a flat little heart.
This has been too good of an episode for Ryan to get super upset. So let's just get off of that train really fast.
Yeah, don't ruin my buzz. I was just making a joke, except I'm not kidding.
All right, guys. So final thoughts. LHC fires back up. Do you think the world's gotten weirder?
That I would, for the longest time, for the Mandela effect and all the stuff that they said that when the LHC the first time it kicked on and the second time it kicked on, and you'd hear all these alternate reality theories and the Mandela effects and all this stuff, like all the information you could find on Reddit, everywhere else, but all the things that happened. And I would always be like, oh, come on, guys. But this time when it kicked back on and some stuff started happening, I was like, I don't know. That seems a little too weird. Personally. It was the first time where I was like, okay, then maybe there's something to. No, I'm not saying that we've jumped and shifted into a different reality. Now, people out there think we have. That's definitely a school of thought. But there's something, I don't know if it's energy wise, I don't know if it's opening portal wise, if it's allowing some more of the bad stuff to kind of come in. I don't know what's going on. But I do feel like at least something has caused a blip, right? I would say that, or a bump, a road bump or something that just has caused things to be so much more unusual than previously. That's my final thoughts.
Ryan?
I gave my thoughts along the podcast as we went along. I do have one final thought. When you were talking about the Japanese, the Chinese government that all stepped down at once.
Japanese, yeah.
Do we know if it's like they're voted or appointed for a certain amount of time and it's just like, oh, next one?
No, they resigned.
Okay.
Yeah, weird.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
I don't know.
But you guys, I mean,
I don't know how it relates to the hadron collider is what I'm trying to figure out.
Never happened. Never happened before. It was the first time that all of them just like up and resigned in one day. I think that's where the vein he was kind of going with. Like, you never have that many people, especially government officials who are pretty powerful people. And like, you know what? I'm done.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that. All right. All right.
That would be like all of our members of Congress being like, yeah, we're done. Yeah. That would be weird. They're all, just like you're right. It would be. That would be a very strange event for us in America.
Especially in America.
Yeah, if they all just said, hey, you know what? We were going to resign.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty weird. Pretty weird. We all know me. I definitely think the LHC firing back up has been the result of all this stuff. Every bit of it. Every weird thing that goes on in your life, raise your fist to the skies and scream, "Darn you, son. It's all your fault." Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with this. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this. This is an article, July the 26th, 2022. I'm just going to read the heading. I'm not going to read the article. It'll be too long. But this is from the Scientific American. All right, the magazine, Scientific American, or blog, whatever. It's under quantum physics. A new phase of matter opens portal to extra time dimension. Physicists have devised a mind-bending error correction technique that could dramatically boost the performance of quantum computers due to this. So,
say that again.
New phase of matter opens portal to extra time dimension.
So, phase of matter, we're thinking solid, liquid, gas, plasma, fifth phase.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, due to that new phase of matter, it opens a portal to an extra time dimension.
Okay.
And then it goes on to say, physicists have devised a mind-bending error correction technique that could dramatically boost the performance of quantum computers based on the ability to open this portal into extra time dimension.
What the description of extra time dimension is?
I don't know. That's just the heading.
Yeah.
I can't get into the whole article. Go check it out.
I'd be interested to see what that description is.
That's your homework, hill folk. Go check it out. Enlighten yourself. Educate yourself.
Express yourself.
All right, boys. This has been great. It's been
Yep.
a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to chopping it up with some of our buddies come this Wednesday. Well, it'll be last Wednesday for you guys hearing this, because y'all gonna be hearing this on Monday. And if we do nothing, what?
It would be a while before they put that out, I would assume too, right?
Yeah. It'll be a while. So I'm not even gonna mention it because I'm not gonna give, that's up to their scheduling and their whatever. I'm just looking forward to sitting down and chopping it up. I love those boys. So you guys will be hearing this on Monday. Happy Monday, as Ryan's boy Dan Cummins says all the time. Happy Monday, Meat Sacks.
Oh yeah.
If we don't do anything here at Appalachian Intelligence, we hope that we make your Mondays just a little bit brighter. Or I'm not even going to say brighter, a little bit more interesting, because you may be pissed off the whole time you're listening to this. And if so, hey,
At least you're feeling something.
Yeah.
love us, hate us, just talk about us. We love you, Hill folk. Ryan, Lance, I love you boys.
Love you guys.
Gentlemen.
And until next time, we'll see y'all later.